Hello, this is Margo Rose, and I'm really glad to be connecting with you today because it's so hard to see how many challenges are happening right now at the same time. I don't think we've had a year quite like 2020 when there's so many large challenges happening at the time when we're each dealing with whatever our own personal losses have been. So I want to take this time just to share a few super practical techniques from a system of healing I've been inventing over the past 20 years called body-aware grieving. And today we're going to discuss and share a few practical ways to stay safer during times of strong emotion. So what happens, as many of you know, is that anytime we're dealing with a super strong emotion, it's easy to forget our bodies. We could trip or fall or knock into a table or have an additional problem in a car, an additional problem if we're trying to cook or use knives or heat. So the first step to any kind of wellness that's going to get us through today safely is to start protecting our current level of health. And so one of the ways we can protect our current level of health is to make sure we're aware of what our senses are doing, and we want to feel a little bit more empowered that we can tune out some of the other challenges. If we're trying to just get one task done safely, we want to get one thing done skillfully at a time. So here's a quick little trick you can try along with me. It's called face sweep. So face sweep is a way to warm up your hands a little bit. Face sweep is a way to tune out the rest of the world for a moment, senses by one of your senses at a time. So we're going to warm up our hands, and then first I guess you're going to not look at me for a little bit of time and just listen to my voice. The first place we put our hands is gently, lightly cupped over our eyes, especially if you've been looking at the computer for a while. Just listen to this voice for a moment and take 2 or 3 deep breaths with your eyes cupped. And realize how much more relaxing it can be like that for a moment. And then you take your hands and just gently slide your fingertips up along your forehead, and now your eyes can slowly open. And now your hands very gently are coming up over the top of your head and smoothing and lifting your eyes and your forehead gently, some of that tension going. And our hands are going to lightly end up gently covering our ears. And now for a few moments realize how much more peaceful it is when you can control how much sound is coming in by covering up your ears for a few moments. And then gently you can lift your chin, and we're going to take our hands, our fingertips back here to the base of your head, and give yourself just a little bit of a massage right here. This is going to help increase circulation, and we're going to bring more blood flow into our brains and relaxing the top of our neck. Now chin comes up, and these same fingertips can slide off the front of our neck. We think about our throat muscles being tight, but they definitely can be. And then slide those fingertips off gently and relax for a breath or two. And really see if you've had a little bit of impact on how you're feeling right now. So we're going to try that one more time. I'm going to just be there with you. So gently warm up your hands, and now you know what each part of that move feels like. And you can stay a little longer at any part that felt really good to you. So you can start off with your hands cupping your eyes. Very nice. And now gently raise your hands up and start lifting a little bit of tension off of your forehead, off of your neck. Hands up over the top of your head. Gently finding your ears, relaxing your hands over your ears. Chin comes up, fingertips giving yourself a little bit of a massage here, and then hands off the front of your throat and gently release our hands down. And by now, after the second time of doing this simple move that takes less than a moment called face sweep, see if you feel a little bit more settled. Part of the key to thinking well and functioning well when it seems like there's crisis and so many circumstances that are out of our control is to realize, to bring up the amount of control and power we have over our own body's actions and safety. And the decision making that we make from that place is just going to be better. So one thing I tell my clients a lot is, in order to solve any long-term problem, we have to get through today safely. So this is the first step to getting over losses, is to protect our current level of health. So you can try that anytime you need, anytime between like driving and getting into work, something like that, when you need to change your mood and calm down after a hard phone call with someone. Try that little technique if you like it. The next step, when too many things are happening and there's disappointments, there's pain, there's loss, we're like, well, what's grieving, and how am I going to grieve, and what if I don't have time to grieve right now because I'm in the middle of an emergency? So sometimes by practicing protecting our health, it means we might have to postpone slightly how to deal with the emotional fallout of something that's happening. So one of the ways we can learn how to recover from loss better is to develop an idea I call skillful grieving. So the hope for skillful grieving and the experiment of how to do it differently and better over time is learning how to, Skillful grieving is learning how to approach a painful topic or loss in a way that helps you feel better and not worse afterwards. So there's a lot to that. Each one of these things we only have half an hour right now. I definitely want to get to more information, and so I will be sharing more information on my Body Aware Grieving Facebook page as a place we can go into way more detail on any of these topics. So I don't want to leave you hanging like any of this is easy. It's not. None of this is easy. We're just trying to feel what a little bit of progress for right now is and get inspired by that. So one way to sort of experiment with the idea of increasing our skillful grieving is to look at emotions that have high energy and emotions that have low energy. And some of the emotions, and then we can sort of balance the higher and lower energy emotions. But within that, we also have emotions that are very, very draining. And we want to try to avoid those emotions. Let's see here. We have some emotions that are very inefficient. They waste energy. So the big 5 emotions that for a lot of people burn a lot of energy, even if they're sort of on in the background, it's something that happened a long time ago or something that wasn't our fault, but we're still upset about something. The emotions of regret, shame, guilt, worry, and resentment. So let me say those again a little more slowly, because we're going to try to lighten our load. We're going to try to look at an event or one of our own actions in our past, something that we have regret about, something we have shame about, something we feel guilty about, something we're worrying about, and something we might resent. So think of one example of something in one of those categories, maybe something from your personal life that you wish had gone differently. And see, I want to experience together a moment of something I call releasing a regret. I want to take an emotion that could be draining energy from our bodies and from our ability to focus, and it happened in the past, and we just want to let go of that waste of energy so that we have more energy to use for our current moment and the current challenges that we're facing. So take a moment, think if there's anything that you have a regret, shame, guilt, worry, or some resentment over, and see if any one of these 3 statements feels good to you. If there's one you could go, oh, I believe that, that's true. That's true for me. So I did the best I could. This is something I can't change. Overall, I'm a really good person. So picture your moment that feels lousy every time you think of it. And now we're going to see if any of these statements or all of these statements feel true to you. You can say them along, you can say them in your heart, however you want to. I did the best I could. This is something I can't change. Or, and overall, I'm a really good person. So take a moment, and we're going to put our hands at our heart when we think of that moment that's been upsetting to ourselves, and let's lift them up and just kind of release the hurt from that one moment in history. We can release the hurt from that one moment. And I kind of like to picture if you're in a boat and it's rocky and it's sinking, it's filling up with water, picture that you had an extra block of cement you were carrying around. And this could be the equivalent of taking a block of cement that's been taking part of your body for too long, part of your personal history for too big a way, and just throw that block of cement out of the boat. And what we're looking to feel is just a little bit brighter and a little bit more lifted and a little bit like, wow, I really did the best I could. This is something I really can't change. And overall, I'm a really good person. So just to get more confidence for how we're going to deal with these current loss and changes better is to experiment with how much we can really do for ourselves by asking in a way about your current problems and challenges, isn't it hard enough already? How can I make this easier for me? How can I ask myself what I need instead of telling myself what to do so often? And if we can do that even once, then we can do it over and over again. And maybe we don't have time to do it on every topic that's causing us pain right now or fighting for our attention, but we can really influence how good we feel in the moment. So moving ahead, the next phase we're trying to aim for is the phase of getting stronger, the phase of getting more confident, the phase of getting wiser, the phase of you that's ready to renew something, you're open to new opportunities, the part of you that's ready to celebrate. So one way to sort of rise to challenges is to physically and emotionally get stronger. So some of what we're going to do is take a moment and look at some of the emotions. I talked about the high energy and emotions and low energy emotions. That was a little bit confusing because some of the ones that are draining can be high or low energy in how they feel in our bodies. So we'll get back to that. I'll clear that up in some future connection with you. But see if these emotions help bring up your energy. And we're going to also experiment a little bit with that. We're going to try a few activities. Curiosity, pride, hope, loyalty, passion, and desire. So think for a moment, like if we look at a high energy emotion like worry, people are worrying, oh, what's going to happen in 2020? How do we do shelter in place and evacuate at the same time? Why isn't there a playbook for any of this? How can we do, we could be really in a huge state of worry, justifiably, for all the different things that are going on in 2020. So if we want to move laterally from a situation that we're sort of anxious and worried about, we could experiment and see, for this moment, could I switch over and try out curiosity? Like, it's a little bit lighter, it's a little bit more energy enhancing, a little bit more, I don't want to say fun, but a little bit like, wow, I really have no idea. I'm so curious how this is going to turn out. It is just so interesting. How are we going to fix all these problems at once? So the idea of curiosity could also be blending all this information together for a moment. Curiosity could also be, what do I feel like eating right now? I know I need to eat something, but, and you could roll through in your mind at different kinds of food or different kinds of beverage, for example, and you could just be curious. That's a way to use, for example, curiosity. Pride, I think, is one of the least utilized, most powerful tools that we can do to enhance any moment. So right this moment, well, let me go over these a little bit more, and we're going to go through some of them together. Well, I'm sorry to zigzag around. I wish I had more time to share more things. Let me stick with pride. We have pride, hope, loyalty, passion, and desire. And if you don't feel like you want to look into pride very much right now, if you can think of something you're hoping, something that inspires you, maybe we'll get through this. Maybe the earth is going to have some advantages. Maybe this job I want is going to come through. Loyalty, what do you believe in? What do you trust? What are you willing to go out of your way to make an idea, a person, a thought? Where do you have your loyalty towards something that's very important to you? And another energy enhancing emotion can be a lot of different types of passions and different types of desires. And you can be, passionate about something you like doing in the arts. You can be passionate, of course, about people and a cause. I'm gonna do this for the animals. I'm gonna do this for the people I care about. Yes, the world's struggling, but I'm passionate about who I'm gonna help. I'm gonna do what I can. I'm passionate about that. It's very energizing to think about and to start to do. And along with passion is desire. Like one way to bring ourselves into our bodies, and one way to bring up some nice energy is to feel some desire and find a way that you can mix some desire into an energy source and then use it for something that benefits you. So let's go choose one of those things that means something to you. And afterwards I want to do a round of applause. Round of applause, okay? So first of all, let's start off with something we're proud of. If you want to, any of us right now could be like, we are not dead. We've gotten this far in 2020 and this far in a pandemic, and we are not dead. So it could be like, be proud of whatever you've done so far that has kept you not dead. That's a huge accomplishment. So we're going to have a round of applause. Round of applause for just that. Just the fact that you're sitting here and having a day today is something all by itself to be proud of. So take another moment and think of something else you're proud of. Are you dealing with a ton of challenges and you've stayed sane? If you've stayed sane let's have a round of applause for the fact that we've stayed as sane as we have, whatever that is, while many things were happening all at the same time. We can think about something we hope. So take a moment and think about something that you're hoping for. And then give yourself a round of applause for whatever that hope was. Some of this movement with our hands and the humor of moving our hands in a round of applause, it is meant to be silly on purpose, but it's also meant to bring more circulation and again, bring us into our body, bring more into health, bring more into circulation, and it's part of becoming more energized. Another very important energy enhancing, I don't know if it's an emotion specifically, but humor. So as often as you can, you see these memes, these little quotes, these little jokes. There's a ton of really, really, really funny little snippets of things on internet right now. People are being funny. It's a different kind of humor when people are this challenged, but it is super funny. So whatever you can do to see things in a humorous way, find a joke somewhere that makes you laugh for a moment, and then things could get serious again later. But if you can remember to find as many things as possible that get you laughing, even for a couple seconds, don't feel guilty about any of that. If you're scrolling around on YouTube, if you're watching videos of cute little animals or videos of jokes, if your time on social media, if your time looking and scrolling around and connecting with people is making you feel good, especially if you're finding things that are lightening your mood and sort of distracting you for a moment, I think we can just feel a little bit less guilty about the fact that that's something a lot of us are doing. Again, going back to the energy draining emotion, if we're going to sit there and scroll around on Facebook or YouTube anyway, if we feel guilty about that, we've then missed out on a lot of whatever the advantage of something we were trying to get. Maybe we were trying to relax. Maybe we were trying to take care of ourselves by turning off our brain for a little bit of time. Maybe we were looking to get more informed so that we knew how to make more skillful choices. Maybe we were just going from our private homes to just feel and see and be aware that other people are out there. If you are on computer, and I encourage us all to pay attention to our bodies, use our bodies more, move around more. But if you're spending time doing some of that and getting mad at yourself about it, try to find what need is being met. What are you trying to accomplish with that time on social media? And maybe here's another technique. It wasn't part of something I was going to share today, but there's something I do with a lot of my clients, my fitness clients, who are, it's called healthy pleasures. So a lot of times a fitness client will come to me and they'll have some favorite thing that they consider a vice, that eating too much of a certain kind of food, they're taking on some kind of health habit that is having a negative consequence, cigarettes, for example. So maybe, people would say, well, I need 4 glasses, I have 4 glasses of wine when I come home at night, and I feel bad about that, and, now I'm pre-diabetic or whatever, and I'm worried that this is harming me. So the healthy pleasures style of looking at some of this and making just decisions is to really get to the core of what is it you're trying to provide for yourself. Again, it goes back to the question we had in the beginning. Body-aware anything, and especially body-aware grieving, is a system of kindness to yourself. It's a system of saying more and more often, instead of telling myself what to do, I'm going to ask myself, what do I need? So if you have a habit right now, internet, foods, drinks, something that feels out of balance for you, try to find out what is your core thing that you're trying to do. I'm trying to reward myself because I've had a hard day. That's a fantastic thing to do. Great. I'm trying to calm down after some worrisome thoughts or a hard day. Well, that's a great goal. So we don't have time to go into each one of these. Could be its own, and probably will be its own discussion together in its own way to bring these ideas forward. But for a moment, if you can think of something you wish you were doing less of to have a healthier lifestyle overall, instead of telling yourself you're bad for making that choice, get curious about what your goal is for some of that, and what your wisdom is in trying to provide yourself with something like that. So then once you have a little bit of, let's say, let me just use an example of a person who would say, oh, I've had 4 glasses of wine. Instead of trying to say, well, they come to a personal trainer and they think the personal trainer is going to be like, well, you shouldn't be having wine. And I'm like, well, what if we found other things that were satisfying as ways to transition and relax after work, because that's when that person was needing to make that mental transition away from the stress of work to home. I said, what if we sort of left it at what might end up being 2 glasses of wine for a while, and we found healthy pleasures. We found other activities that feel good and could give you some of that same need. So replacing favorite activities and expanding the number of favorite activities that give some value to you. And that's going to be something each of us has to experiment with. It's going to be really different. But it might be, I'm going to get in the car and go for a short drive with my favorite music for 15 minutes and then come home and relax. I'm going to call my favorite friend. I haven't talked with them in so long. I keep telling myself, here's like a little bit of guilt and shame and worry. I should be calling them. I should be calling them. They were nice to me. I haven't called them. I haven't seen them since their wedding. So call that person. Now you have 2 things. If you call the person you've been telling yourself you should call, you get the connection that made you want to be reaching out towards that person, and you also get to release some of that shame or regret at the same time. So this is all going to fit together, these the health protecting measures like face sweep. There's releasing the negative emotions in a variety of ways. We just touched on a couple ways, but just think about it, come up with a statement that feels just real and true without negating whatever that actual problem had been. Let that go. In exchange, you can come up with something that you're happy about, something you're loyal to, something you're passionate about, something you're curious about, and you can give yourself a round of applause for having that kind of energy enhancing moment. So basically, to round up a little bit, I really want to thank you for spending this time together, and I'm pretty new to doing videos, so it takes a lot of getting over some hesitation and some shyness to be sharing with you, but I really do hope that you feel a little bit more grounded, a little bit more uplifted, and a little bit more like, hey, I'm powerful. In a couple minutes, I changed my mood that much. In a couple minutes, I changed how I feel about a past pain that much. In a couple minutes, I learned how to raise up my energy with deciding I feel proud of something right now, something I'm doing that I didn't give myself credit for. Okay, that extra burst of pride is going to straighten us up and improve our posture, and that's going to help us moving forward. And in the end, if you do have some habits that you feel like are out of control, or you're just giving yourself a hard time, see if you can cut that habit maybe in half for now by replacing some of that, by meeting some of that goal that you have for yourself in a variety of other kinds of healthy, pleasurable ways that are really going to be personal to your life and what you have access to and what you enjoy doing. Playing a guitar for a couple minutes, even if it's not super skillful, hopping in a shower, looking at something out in nature that's beautiful, looking out at something, even if it's not in person these days for a lot of people, looking at something beautiful and seeing if you don't feel a little better from that. And let's see, do I have anything else? Mostly, I would love to stay connecting with anybody who wants to. On the Body Aware Grieving Facebook page is a place that I'll be reaching out with anything else new I want to do. I'd be loving to see what people want me to talk about and share in the comments section. And now that I'm not, paralyzed about trying to do videos, we can move ahead and have a whole new chapter and ways of communicating. Even when we're a little bit of socially distanced because of some of this pandemic, we can still be connecting and helping each other in a variety of ways. So I appreciate so much this time, and I hope for you that you feel better than you did half an hour ago. And I really, really send best wishes to you. We are all really trying our best, I think, honestly. And that's all we can do. So thank you so much, and take good care. Bye-bye.